The way I view the Hizmet movement is it is one that is based upon understanding, much more than just tolerance of being able to accept that there is difference, but actually reaches out to look for those things that make us more alike than we are different. Especially in the United States, there isn't that much of an understanding. And it's sometimes a difficult. And within our Jewish community, there. My name is Mayor Peduto. I'm the mayor of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I guess I first got involved with different folks that are a part of the Hizmet movement through the Turkish Cultural Center of Pittsburgh. The Turkish population in Pittsburgh has been growing now for about the past 20 years. And I was invited to attend a friendship dinner. Found out a little bit about Mr. Gulen and then about the Hizmet movement. And through that, actually had a lot of different experiences over the past 10 years, including 2 trips to Turkey. My first trip was strictly on an interfaith dialogue. So as a Catholic, I was very interested in learning more about how Christianity came to exist and how during those first couple of centuries, Turkey had a critical role. One of my favorite memories was visiting Ephesus and being able to stand where the Virgin Mary had spent her last days, being able to think about how John had taken her there and what the world was like at that time. But what I saw when I was in Turkey was a country that understood the importance of understanding that even though it may not be my religion, somebody who has that deep faith is somebody that is very much more alike than different. The way I view the Hizmet movement is it is one that is based upon understanding, much more than just tolerance of being able to accept that there is difference, but actually reaches out to look for those things that make us more alike than we are different. It has a basis in an understanding that starts young, and that starts with education. And instead of just trying to push a dialogue, actually investing in schools and allowing anybody with any of their own beliefs to be a part of that, and starting to break down the walls that have kept us separate for so long, and accepting and utilizing technology and communication to be able to find ways to bring us together. I mean, we all share one big rock, and then we're flying around in space. And the more that you get to know people, the more that you have the opportunity to understand what it is that they believe, the more you start to understand how much we are alike. And the Hizmet movement tries to bring that on a local level, on a national level, and around the world. I can tell you that within Pittsburgh, what the Hizmet movement has done is brought people together in an understanding of our friends and neighbors who are Muslim, of what it really means. It's done so in a way that invites everyone to be at the table. It doesn't try to preach. It doesn't try to say that this is the way that you should be, but it says this is the way that I am. And in opening that and basically presenting people for who they are, it's helped to create greater cultural understanding in the city of Pittsburgh. And that's just one little part of this world. When it starts to happen over and over again, that's how change happens. Change doesn't happen at the top. It never has. The greatest movements that have happened in having society and culture progress have always started at the bottom. And it's planting those seeds and then watching them grow. And then just giving the people an opportunity to have an open heart and an open mind to start to see how we can work together. That's where the big things happen. That's where the Hizmet movement is. It's spread out around the world in a way that understands and respects what anyone may believe, but also help us to understand how we're all alike. I would say that the people from the Hizmet movement that I've met both here in Pittsburgh and then those in Turkey represent Islam in the ways that anybody would want to represent what they believe in, through an understanding and a respect, through more than a willingness, but a dedicated approach to being able to break down walls of difference. In Pittsburgh, most of the people that I've met who've been a part of the Hizmet movement are highly professional. They're engineers and doctors. They're professors and teachers. They work as business leaders. And what they do is they give of themselves in order for others to understand. And we don't have a large Muslim population within Pittsburgh, so it's very important that who is representing it becomes what a lot of people will then decide how they see it. And within the Hizmet movement in Pittsburgh, it is done on a very respectful basis. You know, it's kind of interesting because the city of Pittsburgh has a very strong interfaith community. And within our Jewish community, there is also an outreach and an ability to work between both the Muslim community and the Jewish community, and involving the Christian community as well. As a Catholic, I take great pride in the work that our Diocese of Pittsburgh has done of bringing people from around the world to Pittsburgh, especially those that have been persecuted in their home countries. And I think that as we start to work together in finding those in all of our religions and those around the world of others, that we have the ability to start to understand again how it really is a common good that we're all trying to seek. Well, I think that interfaith dialogue is absolutely critical in just understanding our fellow man. Like it or not, we're here together, and we're going to be here together for the rest of our lives. And I always believe that hate is ignorance, that we hate the things we don't know. You can ask a second grader who hates math, why do you hate math? And they'll tell you, because I don't understand it. But you can ask a grown adult why they hate another person, and it's for the same reason, because they don't understand it. So I think that the more that we have a dialogue, the more that there's groups like the Hizmet movement that are involved to teach Christians and Jews about what it means to be a Muslim, but at the same time learn what it means to be a Christian or a Jew, then we have the opportunity to start to break down those walls. I think especially in the United States, there really isn't that much of an understanding of Islam. I've talked to imams who have explained to me that in the Quran, there is more about the Virgin Mary and even her father than there is in the Bible. That in the Quran, there are the stories of Jesus Christ, and that there is a mutual respect as him as a prophet. And as one of my friends said, the only difference that we really have is that in Islam, we don't believe that he was here, but that he will be here. And I guess we'll have to wait to find out when he comes back who's right. If we can approach it in that way and basically understand that people of faith have the same kernel of truth within them, and whether they kneel or they stand or they bow, that they're praying to the same God, then we have the ability to get past all these things that differ us. The wars where mothers cry because their sons never come home. The wars where children die for something that they never understood. The poverty and the famine that is based more upon ways that try to separate us. The moment that we start to work together and understand that we are more alike than we are different, then we can start to put those things aside. I think Mr. Gulen has had the opportunity to understand how we are alike. And it's sometimes a difficult argument to make. When things are difficult or times are tough, we always look for somebody else to blame about why we're in this situation. We do that as people, we do that as cities, we do that as countries. What Mr. Gulen has decided to do is try to find ways to channel that, to be able to build a communication between people, between cities, between countries, in order to be able to find new ways to solve old problems. I think he's a leader that leads by example, certainly in the way that he has presented his beliefs through his books, shows that there are ways that we can find similarity. Well, I think that the greatest opportunity for a person comes from education. That's proven throughout time, in that by giving the people their own tools to be able to succeed, you're basically giving somebody the opportunity to succeed. Where there isn't education, there isn't hope. And the dialogue is one way to making sure that we understand each other. But the other path is allowing someone's mind to be open to understand it on their own. And sometimes just the opportunity to be able to give a young person the tools that they'll need. Education is a critical part of breaking cycles of poverty, and that exists throughout the world. It doesn't matter if it's in a low-income neighborhood in the United States or if it's in any other part of this world. And I think the Hizmet movement understands that in creating the opportunities for a better society, for a more compassionate society. It's not only on having that dialogue later in life, but understanding it as you're growing up. I've had the opportunity to see firsthand in Pittsburgh where the Hizmet movement has been able to teach young children, children from all religious backgrounds, and be able to give them quality education. But I've also had the opportunity to see it in Turkey as well, and to talk with the teachers themselves, teachers who have been very much like the teachers that I talked to in Pittsburgh, who have a very strong compassion and desire to be able to work with young people. I think the Hizmet movement understands that there is a need that exists throughout the world where government may have failed, whether that is in providing health care, whether that is in providing education, or whether that is in just opening up dialogues. There is a greater commitment to being able to help people. And I think the Hizmet movement understands that and plays a critical role within it as well. I think the criticism that the Hizmet movement gets sometimes in Turkey, that they're reaching out too far around the world and it really doesn't benefit Turkey directly, is very similar to the criticism that comes from the United States when the Congress decides to send aid to countries that need it. Wherever somebody needs help, where the United States has the benefit and the opportunity to help someone, it's the greatest gain that we get in building global relations. It can be argued that, you know, there aren't enough resources to take care of our own problems, and that you should take care of yourself first. And that is something that's argued no matter what country you're in. But Turkey is a global leader, and it's been a global leader for thousands of years. And to remain a global leader, one of the best ways to do so is to show how you are helping others. That's what the United States has learned from countries like Turkey that have been able to stay global leaders for thousands of years, is that once you decide to put walls around and separate yourself, you're no longer part of the community.
The most fundamental value that I saw in Hizmet is the idea of service, or Hizmet. And I think putting real life expression to the values, is what is most appealing to me and to others. So it's not just about believing something, it's about living it, and it's about walking the talk and putting your principles to action.
I have found that in all the people that I have met through the movement, individuals, men and women, who have who represent a very positive image of Islam as a religion of openness, of peace, of love, of understanding.